It's your boy Jimmy John Porter.
Welcome back to the R&D podcast. My name's Dalton. I'm joined here today with Pork and Chin once again. We got an interesting one. We got an interesting one. We got the Tuesday college football playoff rankings coming out. We had some interesting topics in this one, especially notably the Alabama jumps to number 9 spot, pushes back on Notre Dame, and then also the head-to-head matchup between Miami and Notre Dame, with Miami winning. Do they stack them two? And since we know that idle teams can move now, even the teams that aren't playing the conference championship can move forward or backwards. How does that look next week, depending on who wins? Can Miami possibly jump Notre Dame to make it in the playoffs whenever they're playing some of their best football all year, even though they have 2 losses? We'll start with this, right? We'll pull up what the rankings were. These are the current college football playoff rankings. Let's go ahead and get that off of Chin's forehead.
Thank you.
No problem. JMU slips in at 25. And the thing about JMU being there is we could see 2 G5 teams make it in the playoffs, depending on the ACC championship between Duke and Virginia. Duke right now, a 3-point underdog to Virginia. But if they do get the win, it opens up a lot of doors for 2 G5 teams to get in there. That's why, which we'll skip over all of these. You can see on the screen for yourself what the rankings are. We'll get to the nitty-gritty of this ranking. Alabama being bumped up to 9 is such a big deal because now, as long as you don't win by a large margin of points to Georgia in the SEC championship, will you get kicked out of the playoffs? And with them being at the 9 spot instead of the 10 spot, it's hard to believe that they will be. Let's get in this. What do y'all think about Alabama jumping Notre Dame? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? I personally feel like it was a fix for a mistake they made in prior weeks. Whichever one.
The guy who came on the screen, I don't know his name. He talked about it had been like a hot topic in their meetings for like the past 3 weeks on why Notre Dame is ahead of Alabama.
Mm.
He mentioned the comeback win, or not really comeback win, the close game and a tough fought win in Auburn, rivalry week. And then he talked about who Notre Dame played, which was Stanford, and how they just kind of ran them over, even though they're not really a rival. But I think they did fix the mistake they had made. I'm not trying to say Notre Dame's a bad team, but Bama has the 2-1 against top 25, and Notre Dame is 1-2 against top 25.
Mm-hmm.
I think they made the right decision, though.
I think strength of schedule, and I think overall that the jump with Alabama to Notre Dame is the right move. People are comparing the Oklahoma being ranked ahead of Bama head-to-head wise against the Miami and Notre Dame, saying that should Miami be trailing Notre Dame by 1 spot or potentially be ahead of Notre Dame due to the head-to-head win. Pork, what's your take on that? What do you think? Do you disagree with that, or do you think the rankings are fine where they're at?
I don't think anybody from like 9 and 10 is not safe. I think that's like the 2 least safe spots in the playoff right now. Mainly for the fact that a Texas Tech loss in the championship gets BYU in. They get a bid. Texas Tech doesn't drop out. Bama has to win in. And then I think Miami's at the mercy of just people in front of them, right? If even that.
They talked about if it was come down to it, they might switch the 2 just because of head-to-head.
That just seems wishy-washy. I don't know. I think Miami had some ugly losses in the ACC. Notre Dame's 2 losses are to the guy number 7 and 12 at this moment in time. So, I mean, their losses don't look terrible, but they also cupcaked all the way through the year. It's hard to really call it on really where you think they should be.
Mm.
I mean, Notre Dame lost they were 0-2 to start the season.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they were 0-2, win the last 10. Miami lost middle and then later on the season, right? They lost to Louisville, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They lost to Louisville early September and then lost like middle November.
Yeah, the late loss is what I think has them so far down. I don't think you should switch them though by any means.
So
I don't know.
Miami's loss to SMU at SMU is what noticeably bumped them back. That was the most recent loss for them. The deal with the whole situation is the ACC championship game and the cutoff spot being more than likely number 11 at the current moment, and it could possibly be 10 due to whoever wins. If Duke wins the ACC championship game, it's going to shake up a lot, and it's very possible because do you give consideration to Duke, who's a 7-5 team in a championship game, but their 7 wins are against Power 4 opponents compared to like a JMU? Do you squeeze JMU over there over Duke? And a lot of people have JMU making it in. I'm really curious to know, do y'all agree with the group of 5 teams being thrown into the playoffs, even though they do not have any really notable wins over top 25 teams, etc.? Or would you like to see teams like Texas, Vanderbilt, the ones that are right there on the outside, Miami, the ones that are on the outside, be able to get in the playoffs?
I think those 2 teams got snubbed. 13 and 14 should probably be 11 and 12, in my opinion. They should be the first teams out, if not the last teams in.
Can I ask you why they should be over BYU and Miami?
Okay, Miami. I think they should be over Miami because of the losses Miami has. Vanderbilt has. I mean, out of Vanderbilt and Texas, they have the best losses, but Texas does have the head-to-head over Vanderbilt. Miami's lost to 2 unranked teams, and they have how many? They have 2 ranked wins under their belt this season.
1.
to
Miami's
Notre Dame.
loss was at the time, right? If you want to go off the time, because that's kind of how you base it, was what it was at the time. How was it matched up? They lost to SMU, who was ranked when they played them.
What were they, like 25?
They're like 22nd, but
Oh,
still.
okay.
Vanderbilt's losses are Texas on the road and Bama on the road. And then Texas's losses, the most notable one would be the loss to Florida. And they also got beat down pretty bad against Georgia late in the game.
I don't know. I think BYU, you also have the same problem with them as you kind of have with Notre Dame. Who all have they played other than Tech? Because, I mean, Tech.
That's really the only team BYU has played is Texas Tech.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they played Tech, and, I mean, Tech kind of took the belt out.
Yeah, they didn't play well against
Well,
Tech.
I mean, if you go back and watch it, the 3 turnovers BYU had really hurt bad. Like they were saying, like that. I mean, you get a rematch this weekend to hopefully fix your mistakes that you made earlier in the year. I think that game would be it's going to be closer than it was the first time because it's in a neutral site. You're restarting. You're not dealing with the turnovers right off the bat.
BYU has a chance to do something big and take down Tech. I'm curious to see if Alabama wins against Georgia in the SEC championship. How far do they go up? I know they're probably not going to get the 4 spot, right? But can they get up to the 5? Can they get up to the 5 spot and get that at-home playoff game? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, you do not want to go on the road and play at A&M or at Oklahoma first round.
I think if they go anywhere, they go to 6. That'll be the furthest up because the first 5 are pretty cemented in. With Oregon's only loss being to the number 2 team in the nation.
So here's the thing, right? Let me give you the scenario. Indiana, Ohio State. Ohio State beats Indiana by, say, 17. Okay. Georgia beats Bama by a field goal. Tech loses to BYU by a score. So you have Indiana that loses in a considerable gap.
You've got Georgia, the hell scenario playing out is what you have right there.
But really and truly, it's not.
It's not unrealistic. I mean, it could happen.
Because BYU can beat Tech on a with a rematch game. It's hard to beat the same team twice. We all know that. Georgia very well could beat Alabama. But Ohio State and Indiana playing. Ohio State is a really well-rounded team. Indiana's a really well-rounded team. I feel like this is going to be a kind of a Heisman showcase. Like, what quarterback's going to come out of their shell and play well in this game? And if it does happen to be Julian Sayin, what does that look like for Indiana if they do get beat pretty well? So how can they bounce these teams around, and what do they do in this case scenario? Because you have to fit BYU in there now, and you're having to shovel so many teams. What does the top four look like?
So
would
11
think-
and 12, who is going to drop into the 11 and 12? ACC winner and G5?
Depends
Yes.
on who wins the ACC.
Or
So why
double
would-
G5.
So if Duke doesn't, so if Duke wins,
If
you get
Duke
double
wins,
G5.
it'll be
you
double
get,
G5.
You get Tulane, SMU in there.
Tulane, James Madison.
Did I say SMU? I meant to say JMU. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
That is
crazy. 'cause
saying
that's
they win.
been the whole big deal about like winning the Power Four conferences. You get a bid.
Mhm.
It's just like with Clemson last year. They won in, and that's the whole
But-
reason Bama got kept out is because SMU dropped to the spot Bama was supposed to needed to be in.
Yeah. The only reason Duke is not up there is because of all the losses, right? And who they lost to. But speaking of this, right? We have another case scenario. We'll pop this back up on the screen. You got Ole Miss sitting at 6 and they lose their head coach. How does that affect Ole Miss? And what do y'all think about this? Should they have dropped Ole Miss just because you lose your head coach, or do you think they're fine with where they're at? Because personally, I think they're okay, okay where they're at. They have not had a game. Like, if you want to compare it to the FSU, like we were talking about on Sunday night, if you want to compare it to the FSU situation, you saw FSU play several games before the playoffs, and you knew that they were a shell of the team that they were before when they had Jordan Travis. This you have not
Yep.
seen LSU play with, or Ole Miss play without Lane Kiffin. And now it's just been announced that Charlie Waz or whatever is going to be coming back to Ole Miss to call plays and be the OC instead of going to LSU with Lane. So
Heck yeah.
how does that
That's
shape up
just
Ole
for-
Miss?
It's just for the game port.
That's fine
Like,
though.
just for
That's
playoffs.
a huge thing for Ole Miss to like have their play caller.
Yes.
What
So-
you
think
worry
it
about is
would-
player poaching now is how long is he going to be in his ear promising what Lane's telling him to promise.
Do you think Ole Miss is good where they're at, or do you think they should drop?
Yes.
No,
I think they are solely because you retain your OC that was announced today. You're keeping your defensive coordinator. They still got every player that I'm aware is still there. They're not transferring out. They're still a good team. The only thing you lose is just Lane, which is still a big thing, but I think they're in the right spot.
I think it's unfair to the kids to drop Ole Miss whenever they haven't done anything to necessarily deserve that, right?
We got some breaking news, boys.
Yep. That's what I was about to talk about.
Jared Curtis has flipped his commitment from Georgia to Vanderbilt officially.
Never thought we'd
okay.
see the day.
I was going to get to that later in the show, but we'll go ahead and jump out of the college football
My bad.
playoff.
You didn't
So,
tell us that.
On
You didn't
Twitter,
tell us
he
that.
was talking about that it got
Yeah,
leaked. That
somebody
he wasn't
leaked it
he hadn't come
early.
out and said anything about it.
That's
got
what I was going
leaked
to talk
early
about
this
is
summer.
the drama and the fact that it wasn't necessarily confirmed. But now since it's confirmed, huge pickup for Clark Lee in Vanderbilt. You have somebody that can actually replace Pavia now. What do y'all think about this pickup for Vanderbilt? What does that say for Vanderbilt football?
I think it just goes to kind of show that Vanderbilt can recruit with the best of them because, in the past, Vanderbilt, they really haven't gotten the top tier players like you've seen just because of their football team. Well, now that they're doing good, they're getting on a roll. I think they're going to start popping up a lot more in these recruit talks, but rather than they did before.
Well, we've just seen the number one quarterback in the 2025 class flip to the Vanderbilt Commodores.
You know what that means? Unfortunately, that means that Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight are going to be Georgia Bulldogs. That is unfortunately what I think is happening.
Really?
In my professional opinion, I think that's what just happened. Is that Kirby kind of backed off and the kid was like, you know what, Vanderbilt wants me to do this. They're going to build around me. And Kirby's like, look, we got a guy coming in for sure. I've been trying to get Cam Coleman since we scammed Auburn. And they're going to run our pockets one more time, I feel like. And that's going to be the involvement is what's going to happen.
So, did RJ join the podcast, or do we still have pork in here?
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. No, in all honesty, though, I do think this shows a lot about Vanderbilt and where they want to go in the future. They are showing people that we are serious. We're not Diego Pavia. That's not our brand. Like, it's the face of the like face of the brand now, but we're going to set this up to become we're going to try to become a powerhouse and stay a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And that all starts with recruiting. Kids out of high school is what's going to turn you into a future.
Never, if you would have told me 5 years ago, Vanderbilt's going to land the number 1 quarterback in any draft class, I'd have been like, dude, you're crazy.
You could have told me that 6 months ago, and I'm still like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, okay, whatever.
Diego Pavia's still going to be there when I'm 40. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Clark Lee, man, making moves for that program, really inspirational what he's doing with that program. And you really love to see it. Vanderbilt being good at football is good for college football.
It's good for Vanderbilt football.
Thank you.
No, it's just good for Vanderbilt football.
Cool.
Because they're going to – I don't need them to keep whooping up on these Alabama teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another thing that I want to talk about is Kentucky hires Oregon's offensive coordinator to be the head coach in place of Mark Stoops for next year. Good hire? Yes. Distraction for Oregon going into playoffs? Yes.
Nah.
Let's take a look back at the day whenever Lane Kiffin was offensive coordinator for Alabama. He takes the job to go coach at what? UCF? Was it?
USC.
Mm-mm.
No.
Was it not
USC,
It
Tennessee.
was UCF. It was UCF.
No,
was Tennessee.
Florida Atlantic.
It was Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic. Okay. FAU, Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban promoted Sarkisian, said, Kiffin, get out of here right before the national championship game. Bama goes on to lose in the playoff or in the national championship game. There is a toll that it takes on a coach whenever he steps into the position of a head coach, because now he's having to recruit for Kentucky while still at Oregon, because I'm pretty sure he's staying to be the OC through playoffs. I can't remember off the top of my head. I probably wrote that down, but that's going to be a big deal for Oregon, I feel like, going through these playoffs, especially with Dan Lanning being more of a defensive-minded coach and being more active on the defensive side of the ball instead of the offensive side of the ball. What do y'all think about this? What do you think about coaches taking jobs in the middle of playoff runs?
I think that's going to be something that's going to get changed before too long. They'll wait to make signings and stuff like that, coaches-wise, like after their team's games have ended and stuff like that. Because like with the whole Lane Kiffin deal, I mean, he record season for Ole Miss. They're going into the playoffs for the first time, and he leaves right before the playoffs. And now they're having to scramble and find coaches and do this, that, and the other, worried about player poaching to see if they're going to go and take their stuff down to Louisiana. And I feel like that's what's going to be the same thing with Kentucky, is that he's going to be sitting there talking to his offense about what he's going to do and promise them all this big stuff. And that's what Oregon has to worry about mainly, is that he's going to try to take some of their offense with him, which he could. There's no telling.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely could.
Yeah, that's the thing about the transfer portal nowadays. It's a lot easier to build a roster back, like recraft a roster. You saw Lane Kiffin do that for years at Ole Miss. Be able to reshape a roster even without maybe the necessary resources to be able to go out and land a top 5 recruiting class. You can still build a roster with the transfer portal. Is it reliable on a consistency basis? Who knows? It's been proven not to be by some people, FSU. But
for one game, though,
it worked for Ole Miss, and for one game for FSU, it worked. So
that's all they planned for one game. That's all they had to do, is just win one.
That's all you got to do, man. You beat Alabama. Congratulations.
Give me the left side all the way down. Left side all the way down.
Conference championship weekend, Pork. I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to re-ask the question, give you time to think about it. Georgia versus Alabama. We'll get into this one first because this is going to be the biggest one of the podcast. I'm sure that we'll talk about Georgia versus Alabama. Alabama, 10-1 over the last 11 matchups. They have been the puppy dogs owners, have taken them for walks on multiple occasions. Does that happen again in Atlanta, Georgia, Saturday afternoon?
What?
What?
What? What was that?
What?
What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What?
It
It
threw up a
didn't
little
do it. It
bubble
just did
beside
it.
his
It
head.
put a little bubble with a down thumb on
Oh,
it.
did it actually?
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's get off the bubble on the screen, right? Let's talk about the Georgia-Alabama football game. Port, why do you think Georgia has the upper hand in this matchup?
I think this is finally Kirby's chance to turn the tide. You understand what I'm saying?
He already
But-
beat him once 3 years ago.
Dalton literally already said that it's hard to beat the same team twice. So I don't know. I just really feel like Georgia's trying to figure out their kinks and they're trying to work it out and try to get through it. But their defense has stayed strong all year. Their defense has been extremely strong all year long. Bama's defense has been strong, but they also showed that against Auburn that they are prone to getting left out on the field too much. And that's what you have to worry if you're Alabama is that you can't get your defense off the field. And if you can't keep your defense off the field, they're going to get tired. And that also means your offense is getting shut down.
You know, the thing for me is what does, like you were kind of getting into with the fatigue on the defense, what does Alabama's offense look like on first down? Because I'll be able to tell you a lot there. Are they going to come out? Because it feels like to me that Alabama's offense likes to pass the ball a lot on first down. It puts us in second and long positions. And we're not able to establish any type of offense. We go 3 and out. Our defense goes back on the field, and gosh, they can't do it the whole game. We had 6 3 and outs, 7 3 and outs against Auburn. Can't continue to do that and expect to win football games, even the close ones, even the ones you're supposed to win. So,
And
what
the
is
Georgia
that look?
team, they have a good pass rush. They're good against the run, and their secondary is a lot better than Auburn's. And that's what you need to worry about with Georgia. For like, if you're Alabama, what you have to worry about is the quarterback getting hit. Because that's what I saw a lot with Ty Simpson. It's not that he was in his head about getting hit, but that the hit started taking a toll, and it was obvious. It was very, you could read it on his body, like his body language is showing that he's not hurting, but that he was definitely thinking about how many times he's been hit, and that he definitely wanted to be out of it.
Well, you know, you go back to the first time they played this season. Ty Simpson looked almost perfect. Alabama was 13 for 17 on third downs, couldn't make a mistake, it felt like. And things have kind of since changed. You've seen Ty Simpson get forced out of the pocket, get forced off his launching, point, be able to have to move out of the pocket and not come off of his backside dig or his backside read a little early because he's having to move outside the pocket. Can Georgia do that in this game? Auburn did it well. Auburn made Ty Simpson come out of the pocket. Alabama also went to a more get out of the pocket type scenario. Both teams are banged up on the offensive line as well, not to mention Parker Brailsford and Josh Cuevas. Are they going to be 100% or even 75% in this game? That's going to be a big deal because they have been two of the biggest pieces. And you saw the impact that they had in that Auburn game because if Cuevas is there and Parker Brailsford is 100%, there's a lot more things that offense can do. With that being said, the run game for Georgia has looked great. It has looked like 180 yards, 200 yards, rushing a game. And how long can Alabama's defense contain that rushing attack from Georgia? And can they do it well? Because Gunnar Stockton, with his arm, has not been very great in the latter part of the season. Leads me to say Alabama's secondary has been pretty solid overall whenever the pass rush does get home. Can Alabama get into Gunnar Stockton's face just like what we're saying Georgia needs to get into Ty's? It's kind of the same game plan. You have the same type of offense with one being a little bit better than the other in different categories, but really and truly the same type of mediocre offensive play at the current moment. Not overall in the season, but at the current moment, a bunch of mediocrity on the offensive side of the ball. Chin, what do you think about this game?
I think it'll be kind of like the same thing we saw with Alabama and Auburn. I think the game will be won in the trenches, but I think Alabama finally works the kinks out on offense and gets to going a little bit. But I think the way to beat Georgia would be stopping the run and putting pressure on Stockton in the passing scenarios. But the big thing Alabama needs to do, like you said, is quit going 3 and out. Put together long drives to give your defense some rest because they will arguably need it for this second time around against Georgia.
So you saw Kirby come out in the second half of this earlier year's game, the first game of this season with Alabama and Georgia. Is he able to capitalize off of that and find a game plan from say Durkin this past week or Brent Venables to be able to really affect Todd Simpson? And the same part about that is how is Womack going to be able to continue to shut down this Georgia's offense like he did in the first half of the game earlier this season? Lots of big things going on in this SEC championship game. Look really forward to it. It's always a good game whenever you have Alabama and Georgia playing. We'll get into score predictions and what I think will be the biggest part of the game. Like I said, will be the Crimson Tide on first down and what Georgia brings to them. I think teams have a capability of being over aggressive on the run on first down, and Alabama with a lack of run game is trying to make up with that by passing short on first down to get a couple of yards, or just passing the ball on first down to make up for that mediocre run game. How does Georgia play on first down on defense? That's going to tell it all for me. But otherwise, I have Alabama winning this game in a close fashion, 24-21. Chen, Pork, whichever one of y'all want to go next, go ahead. Take it away.
I'll also go with Alabama 31-27.
So that just leaves me, huh?
Yep.
We've been in this scenario before, boys. I know I got y'all last time with the whole switcheroo, but Alabama, I think, they're gonna try to figure it out on offense, and I think they'll get it rolling. But with that being said, 21-20. Give me the dogs. I just don't know. I just think Bama's shown that they struggle with a quarterback who can move, and Gunnar Stockton very much well can move.
Let me give you this situation, Pork. If Alabama loses in close fashion like that, are they knocked out of the playoffs?
No, they'll stay. They'll drop to 10, bump Notre Dame out. That's exactly what will happen. But if Bama loses by about 14 or 17, you might see Bama drop to the 11 spot, which I know they're going to getting penalized for going to their conference championship. But at the same time, we knew about the playoff, the way it was going to work this year, that 11 and 12 are basically unprotected unless they're already in the top 12.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Alabama needs to win. And I'll tell you why they need to win is because they need that home playoff game and they need the rest of not having to play on the road in the first round of the playoffs. Alabama and Georgia both need rest, but there's not a bye week. That's an actual bye week. Of course, you had the weeks in between the playoff games, but you really needed a bye week here later in the season for these two teams to get healthy because neither one of them are really healthy, especially up front.
So let me pick both of y'all's brain real quick. What happens to Georgia if they lose in close fashion? Where do they drop?
I'll say probably 8, maybe.
You're going to drop them 5 spots for losing in close fashion in the SEC championship? I was saying that it'll be Bama and Georgia at 6 and 7. No, not being funny, but
so do you put? You think so? You're going to drop who to be able to put them there?
I think.
What do you mean?
Texas Tech and Oregon would move up.
So you're going to penalize Ole Miss?
I think Ole Miss would probably stay at 6.
What about A&M?
I think they stay at 7.
So you'd put Bama at 5 and Georgia at 8?
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know how far you can drop A&M, a one-loss A&M team. However, Ole Miss, with Georgia having the head-to-head over Ole Miss, that gets interesting. Because what do you do with Ole Miss? Because you almost feel like you can't bounce them behind A&M because of the current rankings and that they just lost. But you just saw that done with Bama jumping Notre Dame for, little to no
reason, basically. I honestly, in my opinion, I think you would see the top 5 if Georgia lost would be Ohio State, Indiana, Tech, Oregon, A&M. and then you would have Bama at 6, Georgia at 7, Ole Miss at 8.
I think Georgia would have to drop below Bama. That's the kicker in this whole situation. If Bama beats them twice,
that's why I think they'd go 6 to 7 because that's the most medium point there, and nobody's dropping too crazy and nobody's jumping too crazy, and that would still give Bama the first round home game that they need, even though they really want the first round bye.
I do not envy these college football playoff prediction poll analysts, whatever you want to call them, their job because it is such a hard decision. Next game on the list, though, we got Ohio State and Indiana.
The Heisman battle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think this is going to be is a Heisman battle. We'll get into this game a little bit. I think that Ohio State's defense is going to be the sole reason that Ohio State wins this game. I'll give my score prediction here in a little while, but I do think Ohio State will take this game. I think Julian Sand's going to have a good game. I think this is going to be a battle for the Heisman. I think Mendoza has not faced a defense like Ohio State. You asked me, what is the reason for me being so high on Ohio State when they haven't played anybody, blah, blah, blah. They have dogs. Straight up dogs.
Did RJ join, or is this still Turtle? Did we lose Turtle?
Okay. I think that Ohio State will get it done. Yes. Do I want to see them get it done? No, because I don't really care for Ohio State, if you want to be completely honest with you. But Indiana, a great all-around team. I think Ohio State will take this game in decent fashion due to the Ohio State defense versus Fernando Mendoza, who I think will still have a good game, just not as good of a game as State.
Dude, you saw Mendoza struggle against Penn State. This Ohio State defense is like 5 Penn State defenses. That's the only thing I'm worried about for Indiana is that Ohio State is great defensively. Like I'm talking about, like probably one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best. And then you also pair it up with, Jeremiah Smith, who's like out there getting like catching backflips and stuff like that, just over people. And Julian Sayan's got the completion record in hand right now, for completion percentage wise, and it's just hard to go against Ohio State. I think it's really like if you pick Indiana, you're just like, okay, I want the underdog to win. That's all you're saying there. And of course, you don't want to be like, oh, I just want whoever's the best to win. I mean, you want a certain team to win, obviously, but I think Ohio State is the more complete team of the two. Given my analysis on complete teams all season, with A&M being one of them, and now they lost to Texas. But I still think Ohio State should be able to handle it.
Ohio State opening this game is a 5.5-point favorite, and a lot of it I feel like is due to the defensive consistency of Ohio State versus Indiana, because Indiana does have a good defense, however, but do they have the athletes that Ohio State has on their side of the ball? I don't know.
What you're worried about is getting that defense off the field, is making sure they don't have to keep playing defense.
Ohio State's got guys everywhere. And
it's not just like one position. It's every position.
And they are fairly healthy, too. And that's what's good about playing in the Big Ten. Chin, what do you have in this game?
If you go back and watch the Indiana-Penn State game, Penn State put a lot of pressure on Mendoza later in the game. And it was like he kind of just didn't know really what to do against a Penn State team who is freshly out of losing their head coach. I think Ohio State's defense will be the difference in this game. I think the pressure that they're going to put on Mendoza with speed is going to be something he's never seen before starting. But then again, I think they probably know that that's coming, so they're probably going to run a bunch of quick stuff, RPOs, stuff like that, to try and get into the head of Ohio State, like, what are they about to do? Instead of, it's either going to be run or medium pass. But I think Ohio State does win this one comfortably.
Score predictions, Pork, what you got for me?
Ohio State 42, Indiana 24.
Pretty good little blowout right there.
I think Ohio State is a very good team, and I don't think Indiana is a great team like everyone thinks they are. I think them and Oregon are overrated. So I have a fairly good hope that Ohio State can come out and show out.
Chin, what you got for me?
Ohio State 38. Indiana 20.
Dang, 18-point margin for both of you? Question mark? I don't know. Math is hard. Dalton, what do you have? Dalton, I'll tell you what I have.
Don't know what you got.
I got Ohio State winning this game 27 to. Take a guess.
20.
10.
No.
23.
0. Shutout time.
Yeah, shutout game for Ohio State. No, for real though. I got Ohio State winning this game 27 to 21. I think that
Close.
yeah,
Me too.
I think that Indiana is going to do okay. Then they're going to start off slow. I think Ohio State's going to start off hot because of the fact of what they have on the field. As the game progresses, I think Mendoza will kind of settle down and start playing well. My big key for Ohio State is how can you maintain Sayan's composure? He's had it all year. You saw him in this last game against Michigan. He throws a pick on the second play of the game, and then he bounces back and has a pretty solid game. Can he continue to do that? Whenever he gets hit with adversity, how does he face it? And I think that he has enough people around him to make it work, unlike Mendoza. Mendoza has some studs around him, but not as complete as Ohio State. And I feel like that'll be the difference in depth and roster talent in this game.
What Mendoza does have is 2 insane running backs. But if that run game gets shut down early, Mendoza is going to have a hard day because they base a lot off that run game, which their running game is responsible for 2,000 yards of offense. So I mean, it's kind of hard to kind of say that the game's all on Mendoza because Mendoza could still have a bad game and the run game bail him out. That's the thing you can see here. You got 3 500-yard rushers sitting there coming out of your backfield consistently.
Yeah. It's going to be a scary game. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Virginia, ACC championship versus the Duke 7-5 Blue Devils. This game is going to be a very crazy. There's a lot riding on this game, a lot of drama riding on this game. If you're the ACC, you have a 7-5 team in the playoff and your conference championship. ACC is in shambles. If you want me to be quite frank, if you're an ACC fan, the best team in your conference is not even in the conference championship game.
Yep. Notre Dame. They played 7 ACC opponents this season. They might have well just been elected in.
They might as well just sign that deal to put them in.
I don't see why not. I mean, they beat up on the ACC other than Miami.
Yeah,
and that was first game of the year.
Smart scheduling by Notre Dame. Anyways,
yeah.
In this game, I have Duke's got a highly paid quarterback. I don't know if y'all know that. They are a 3-point underdog in this game. I like Duke to make some havoc in this game. I like that quarterback to show out and do what he needs to do. Duke has had a very lackluster performance throughout some games in this season, but I feel like for the culture of college football, Duke winning this game would be hilarious. And that's what I'm praying on in this game.
That'd be so bad.
I'll go ahead and give my score prediction because this is one of the smaller games. We'll get into that Texas Tech BYU game. I got Duke winning this game 21-17.
These teams also did play earlier in the season.
Chim, with that being said, what do you think?
I got Virginia 42-23.
Ooh.
Golly.
What? The first game was 34-17.
You can't base it off the first game. We've already talked about this, Chin. It's hard to beat the same team twice, especially
Virginia's
in the same
the better
season.
team through and through.
They may be.
They
that being
They
said,
also have the best field storm of the year. So
that is true. But with that being said, 42-10, Virginia.
Okay. Well.
Oh,
Now
you're hopping on me, but you went further than I did.
What can I say?
Yeah. It's okay. Y'all can refer to me as all ball knower whenever
It's gonna be when I predict all 4 of these right. I want something. All right. I just want I don't even know what I want. I just want something.
Texas Tech BYU. We'll skip past that.
There you go.
Texas Tech BYU. I'll tell you what's impressive to me. The fact that Texas Tech opens up as a 12.5-point favorite this game.
Jesus Christ.
The Red Raiders, baby. I think the Red Raiders will get it done again. I think BYU was pretty underwhelming in the first performance with Tech. I think Tech's a really good all-around football team. I think it is going to be a little bit closer of a game this time, but overall, I still have Tech winning this game. This will be played in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Jen, what you thinking about for this game?
We already know. I think Texas Tech is just going to continue to be the best team in the Big 12. I think their defense is too good for BYU to get their rushing attack underway. So I'm gonna take Texas Tech.
Whenever you have two of the best edge rushers in the country playing on the same football team,
and the Heisman, and the Heisman,
and the best linebacker in the country,
the best two-way player we've ever seen, by the way.
He is.
Okay. Let's get past that comment. We got Stephen A. Smith on the podcast tonight. Welcome, Stephen.
Stephen A. Port.
I mean,
yeah.
He's got 7 forced fumbles and 4 picks and a touchdown.
Yeah,
rushing touchdown.
Yeah, he's the best linebacker in college football.
Best two-way player in college football.
All right.
Hey, Port, what you got on this game?
I think you're going to see a different BYU team come out here. It's kind of hard to base it off the first game because Texas Tech was at home, right? I believe.
Yeah.
It's be their second time going to Texas and playing Tech. But I just don't know. I've just got a gut feeling. I don't really want to base it off a gut feeling because all the stats and everything point to Tech. But Patrick Mahomes probably won't be there. So Patrick Mahomes can't bail them out. So the aura that is Patrick Mahomes sitting in the stands is not going to help him any. I really do like BYU in this. I think they finally get the run game going, and they're able to base the pass game off the run, getting it into the play action, be able to move the ball. I just really like. I don't know. I like BYU. I don't think BYU kills them by any means. I don't think Texas Tech kills BYU if it's the other way around. I think this is a lot closer than everybody's giving it credit for.
So, with that being said, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 35-30 BYU.
Wow.
And he just candlelight vigil for me over there from Chen. I appreciate that.
It's for BYU.
Oh,
Chen, what you got for me score prediction wise? Go ahead.
49-21. The Red Raiders.
Oh,
the Red Raiders.
Turtle was going to flip his lid if you'd have said BYU.
Y'all are crazy. 21-10 Texas Tech for obvious reasons. One of the better overall teams in college football currently.
I said that.
So, can
we go to one off schedule?
What you want to talk about, Tulane?
No.
What you got?
Trojans.
I know who you wants to talk about.
The Trojans.
The Trojans. Give them to me.
What y'all thinking about the Trojans this weekend?
James Madison is a 23.5-point favorite.
Hey, give me the Trojans are going to cover.
If I was a betting man, I'm not anymore.
You
I'd bet the plus 23.5.
It's illegal to bet.
Give me the Troy. Give me Troy money line.
They're plus 1,400. I take it.
Yeah, y'all can have that.
Hey, Goose and Scott Taylor Renfro. That's all you need.
And Ra Thomas, Mr. Domestic Violence.
What?
Okay.
You not remember that? That's why you got kicked off Georgia.
So look, I want to get to something that I feel very passionate about today. I want to get to this Heisman odds and who we think the Heisman should be, regardless of who wins this weekend. Let's say this weekend doesn't count towards the Heisman race, and we base it off of just the regular season, not counting the championship. Okay, because I already know what you're gonna say. Whoever wins Ohio State, Indiana is going to be the Heisman. So with that being said, Chen, I want to hear you first on where you have your top 3 Heisman-wise. Don't do that.
My top 3?
Yeah.
1 to
Top
3 or
no,
3
no,
to
no.
1?
Screw top 3. Give me top 5.
Starting
5
from
to 1
5.
or 1 to 5?
5 to 1. 5 to
5.
1.
Jeremiah Love. Marcel Reed. Mendoza.
As he should be.
Sayin. Pavia.
Yep.
Pavia at 1.
Tell him.
Give me that 5-figure discount.
It's crazy how far the top 5 has come because like 2 weeks ago, everybody was like,
Mendoza, Sayin.
it was the same 3 for like the past month. And now here we are. The top 3's not, I mean, it's 2 of the same guys, but it's been changed up a little. Turtle, let's hear yours. I want to hear yours.
So you're not wanting to count the conference championship week, but I feel like that's unfair because it does count, right?
I mean, I believe that as well. But
Pavia
you have
right
to
now
look
is
at
really
it as
good. Pavia right now is really
loaded
good.
conferences.
But I feel like he almost really hurt himself in this last game against Tennessee throwing 2 picks, right? And I feel as if Mendoza has played really good football. He's been pulled from games early due to it. I feel like saying same case scenario. So do you penalize those 2 quarterbacks for beating teams who may be lesser teams than what Pavia is playing, but they
Maybe
get
or
pulled
are
early?
lesser teams.
Wait, what?
Maybe or they are lesser teams than what Pavia is playing.
I mean, majority are, right? But let me ask you this: and which I know this has nothing to do with it, but if Indiana matches up with Vanderbilt tomorrow, who wins? Or Ohio State matches up with Vanderbilt tomorrow, who wins that game?
Are you being? Is this like a real question?
Okay, so Sayan's playing good football.
Anchor down.
Mendoza's playing good football. Pavia's playing good football. I don't like Marcel Reed still being in the top 5, and I think his game against Texas and the game prior was, or the South Carolina game was reasoning enough for me to bounce him out of the top 5. Top 6, yes, not top 5. Stockton, he's out of my top 5. Simpson, everybody in the SEC but Pavia is out of my top 5.
Where did he go?
What happened to his
Did that
camera?
just disappear?
Yeah.
Did my phone just die?
Yeah, bro. You're out of here.
What can I say? No Marcel Reed slander will be tolerated on this pod. I've already told you.
Oh.
My phone just died.
Oh,
Yep. The solo chin.
there it is.
That's crazy. My phone just died. So I'm going to be off of the camera for the rest of the night, right? But here, actually, I can do this.
Okay.
Whoa,
There you
he's
go.
back.
There you go. He's back.
Second angle Hooper. Look at him go.
Okay, so we're going to have to keep the camera in there, right? Because that is my mic. Okay.
Yeah, and you got a little delay
So-
going.
Technical difficulties, but we're going to get through it on the spot. Anyways, let's get back to it, right? Oh, man, I got the Showtime thing on too with my camera. So it's like moving with my, hold on, center stage. Oh. All right. Let's get back to it, right?
Ban this guy, bro. Ban.
Ban him.
Let's get back to it. Mendoza, saying Pavia. Everybody in the SEC is out. Simpson's out for me. Stockton's out for me.
Pavia's
Reed's
out?
No, I didn't mean to say Pavia.
Oh,
But-
okay.
Pavia's the only one in. Reed's out. Stockton's out. I keep looking up there because my camera's usually up there. And Simpson, Stockton. Goodness gracious. The only one that's not out is Pavia and Trinidad Chambliss. Because how are you going to count Lane Kiffin leaving for Chambliss, right? Let's talk about Chambliss, right?
Controversial over here, are we?
Chambliss has been playing good football, has he not?
Yeah.
Chambliss has
Yeah.
an opportunity to do great things in the playoffs, even without his head coach. I think Chambliss comes in at my 5 spot. 4 spot. Give me Jeremiah Love. For obvious reasons, he's the best running back in the country. 3. Give me I'm just kidding. Give me Mendoza at the 3 spot. 2, give me Pavia. 1, give me Sayin. Reason is Sayin is playing clean football. Do I think that this weekend conference championship will change that? Yes, at the current moment. Do I think Pavia has a really big chance of jumping him depending on how he plays? Yes. If both quarterbacks play a mediocre game this Saturday night, Pavia has a chance to win this Heisman. What hurts Pavia is not being able to play another game like they are. Pavia overall has played great football. He's a great reason why Vanderbilt is a good football team, no doubt about it. The turnovers through the air is what has hurt him compared to the other quarterbacks. And the losses and how he performed in those losses are another reason of what hurt them. Because, like in the Alabama game, he had the notable fumble or the notable 2 fumbles in the red zone that were his fault, nobody else's. And that's my reasoning behind that. Now, he deserves to be in New York. The kid is a star. Court, go ahead.
So I've got to start mine with 6 because you said you don't like Marcel Reed inside the top 5, but it's because of who I have at 6, why I have Marcel Reed at 5. Yeah, there's just nobody. So Marcel Reed is the 5th best player in all of college football, in my opinion, still at this point. I do think Trinidad Chambliss deserves to be just outside the top 5. He hasn't had the same level of play as Marcel Reed through the first, let's say, 10 weeks of the season or 11 or 9 weeks of the season. Because
He didn't
Marcel
start
Reed,
until the 4th.
but I'm saying he still doesn't have the same production even since the 4th is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Marcel Reed is he has played a lot of hard competition all season long. South Carolina, he had a slip up in the first half, had a tremendous comeback, won the game, and then against Texas, absolute struggle bus the whole game. So that's why I have him at 5. Have Jeremiah Love at 4. He's the best running back in the country. Notre Dame is literally sitting on his shoulders right now. He's the main reason they are where they are is because no one can stop him. And at 3, I have Mendoza. The kid's playing good. He's playing good ball. He's playing clean ball. Is the level of play, like the level of opponents he's playing a little low? Yes. And that's why I have him at 3 instead of 2. And I have Sayin at 2 because he does have the notable wins over Texas, Illinois, and Michigan. That's his big 3 so far this season. And he's performed great in all of them. And he has 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the season. He's accountable for only the 30 touchdowns in there, nothing on the ground. Mm-hmm. But he does have good weapons around him. You got Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and then in your backfield, you got Bo Jackson coming out of there. Not my Bo Jackson, but Ohio State's Bo Jackson. Because I knew Chim was going to pop his head at me a little crazy.
No, I watched it the other day. I was like,
and at number 1, I have Pavia, mainly for the reason of if you take Diego Pavia off of this team, what does Vanderbilt look like with like a Pavia-less Vanderbilt? Like, what does it look like? If you put Fernando Mendoza at Vanderbilt, does he put up similar numbers to Diego Pavia?
Yeah, if you put Trinidad Chambliss at Vanderbilt, does he put up?
Well, Trinidad Chambliss that's not fair. Okay, we're not talking about Trinidad Chambliss. we're not talking about Trinidad Chambliss right now.
If you put Deuce Knight at Vanderbilt,
he's giving you one of these right here. That's what he's giving you. Okay. And I'm happy for Georgia. I really am happy for Georgia.
He left. He was like, nah.
I'm really excited for the Georgia Bulldogs. They're going to have perennial talent skill-wise. But Diego Pavia, 27 touchdowns in the air with 8 interceptions. He has 3 more interceptions in the air with 3 less touchdowns than Sayin. He has 130 more yards, but he has 7% less than Sayin on the completion percentage margin. But then you go to look at it on the ground, Pavia he's 175 yards off of a 1,000-yard rushing season with 9 touchdowns to Sayin's 27 yards.
So the misleading, the 5 interceptions for Mendoza and the 8 interceptions for Pavia make it. Let's count it as turnovers, right? Pavia fumbled the ball twice, so let's say 10 and 5.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd take that still, but 36-10.
Yeah.
Turnover-wise, that's still a 3.5 touchdown to turnover margin, which is still it's well above average. Most average players are looking more like of a 1.5 to a 1.7.
Let me ask you this: who do you think the Heisman winner will be next after next weekend or this weekend?
Simpson.
I like that decision. Okay, so I really. So let's say Mendoza comes out and beats Ohio State. It's not by much. He doesn't play like a super great game, but he does have an average game. But say him balls out and his defense loses in the game. How do you weigh that? That's the thing you have to look at now. This extra game is there's so many more factors going against Mendoza and saying than you have going against Pavia. The only thing you have going against Pavia is he's not playing this extra game.
So are you saying
I'm-
can they have a Heisman game and still lose and still be considered a Heisman game?
Yes. Can they play in the game that determines their Heisman? And both, like let's say both are one of them balls out and loses, and the other one plays mediocre and wins. Like, how do you weigh that? Do you give it to the guy that can play great by himself, like play great offensively, but can't win a game on a big stage like that? Or are you going to give it to the guy that, played mediocre on the big stage and still came up with the win? Or are you going to give it to the guy that's shown all season he's going to sit there and grind it out and not play till the final second of every game, who didn't have a championship game?
I mean, if you were to look at it like that, you got to go back to last year. Travis Hunter did not play in a championship game. Dylan Gabriel and Genty did. So I honestly don't think the championship game is going to be a big factor in who's going to win, but I think it'll show a lot more between Sayin and Mendoza who deserves to be 2.
Because what you have to look at it, like the reason that Pavia is not playing in this is not because Pavia is not good or his team isn't good. It's because of the conference he's sitting in is the most loaded conference. I mean, we've got 5, or is it 5? We've got a chance for 6 teams in the top 12 going into this playoff. And I mean, you've got Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. I mean, 3 of these teams they didn't even play. They didn't play A&M. They didn't play Georgia, and they didn't play Oklahoma. They played Alabama, and there's another team I'm forgetting in there.
Texas.
Texas. They lost to Texas, but they spotted Texas 17 in the first half. Got all the way back into, I think it was 3. Still didn't come up with the win, which, of course, that's really what matters in that scenario. But he did show that he's able to bounce back and make adjustments himself.
If they would have came away with that win right there, I think you got a different top 25. I think you got Notre Dame at 11, Alabama at 10, Oklahoma at 9, and then you're looking at A&M at 8, and then Vandy at 7, just because their only loss would be to number 10 Alabama.
So notable win-wise, okay, with the people that Diego Pavia has won and lost to. He has lost, and these are all ranked teams. I have this listed out as just the ranked teams they played. That's what I'm starting to call notable opponents. They shift in and out so much all the time.
Haven't they only lost 2 games?
They've lost 2 games to the number 10 and number 20 team at the time. And the number 20 team is now ranked ahead of them at 13? 12?
13.
So they beat number 11 South Carolina, lost to number 10 Bama, beat number 10 LSU, beat number 15 Mizzou, lost to 20 Texas, and beat number 18 Tennessee at Tennessee by 21. And if anything, Heisman game wise, if you can call it a Heisman game, that was Pavia's Heisman game, was Tennessee. I know they had the 2 picks that were him. They were all him. But at the same time, he 150 yards on the ground. I think it was like 280 something yards in the air. I mean, you go for just over 430 something yards with 4 touchdowns combined. I don't know. It's just
he have that much over there?
I think it was like 280 or something like that. I knew it was in the 2s. I'm not sure exactly what his exact
268.
Yeah. So I mean, you're sitting there right at 400 yards of offense with just your quarterback and just a little more than half in the air. I don't know, but
what was your 5 through 1 again for the Heisman? Besides Pavia,
Marcel Reed 5, Jeremiah Love 3, Mendoza 2, Jeremiah Love 4, Mendoza 3, Sayin 2, and
okay,
the dog.
Without this week, give me the Heisman winner.
Pavia.
Count you count conference championship, you count everything. Your Heisman winner will be.
I like Pavia. I don't know. I really do. I think there's not really a lot that can change
Chin.
my mind.
What's yours?
Pavia.
What about you, Turtle? Don't you say his name. I see you churning up the M. Don't you do it. He's like,
Trinidad Chambliss. No, Mendoza. Mendoza will be my Heisman winner. Even though I think they'll lose to Ohio State, I think he'll play good ball. I think he just doesn't have the people around him to continue to perform at a high level to be able to beat a team like Ohio State. And I think he'll do well in the playoffs. Fernando Mendoza is my Heisman winner.
So good game, biggest stage of the year, loss gets him the bid.
Yes, due to his good stats throughout the whole season.
Okay.
And then, I'm talking about great game, just comes up with a loss, and you can tell it's a lack of roster talent.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm talking about he does no wrong. You can just tell he doesn't have what Ohio State has around him.
He has the ball out game with the loss. I see what you're saying.
Yes, he's the reason that Indiana is able to hang around.
Okay, I see that. I could see that. I think that's the only thing that keeps Pavia from winning it is one of them being the only reason they won that game.
Yeah,
I think that's the threat to Pavia.
You know, let's talk about this. Goalish making moves at Auburn. Pork, are you liking what you're seeing so far?
Yes and no. Okay, I really love the hire. I do. I love the fact that he kept Durkin. That's a huge thing that happened a few hours ago. I'm excited we get to keep our most of the defense that's already here. Losing the safety to Mississippi State hurts a lot, but also at the same time we flipped a wide receiver. I can't remember where he was going to before. I think it was Duke. We flipped the Duke wide receiver. Yeah. He's going to come to Auburn now. I think it's Chadwick Toodle's coming as well, or Trudel. As long as we can if we can limit decommits and flips from us, we'll be fine. But at this point, I think Goalish needs to not worry about the class coming in and worry about the people he has on the roster right now. I really hope his first meeting was with Deuce Knight to let him know that we're going to plan around him for the future. And then his next one was to his completely, the whole wide receiver room. Because if not, I keep calling it, Georgia could snatch Deuce and Cam Coleman from us in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because Kirby loves Cam and talks to Cam like he's his son whenever he sees him. So that's the only thing that just gets me nervous about that is even the fact that if Cam just doesn't stay anyway.
Roster retention for Goalish continues to be a big, priority there on the Plains. But other than that, we really don't have much else to talk about. This is going to be a good, fun, action-packed weekend. I think Chin will be at the conference championship game in Atlanta, Georgia. Pork will probably be cooking me something to eat.
Yeah, man.
So, anyways, this has been the R&D
keep
podcast.
The leftovers, bro.
Nah, no ribs left over. No rib left behind. You know how it goes.
I was going to bring y'all a souvenir, but never mind.
All right, look, you get one rib.
2.
I'll work that. I can swing that. Let's do it.
2.5.
You said 2. We're not doing over-under.
All right. Look. 4 if Bama wins, 2 if they lose.
Yep, I'm down with that. Come on. Yep. Yep, there we go. All right.
Over
Little virtual handshake going on.
Act like we don't live together.
I don't know you. Never even met you, dude.
Either way, this has been the R&D podcast. I appreciate you. I keep looking up, look at my camera, and my camera is actually right here. This has been the R&D podcast. Appreciate you for stopping by. We'll catch you next Sunday or this Sunday night to break down what happened in the SEC championship game. Hopefully, Alabama prevails. Thank you for watching.